Okay, welcome back to the series on how to lead a successful funeral. My name is Anthony Kladitis. I want to welcome you back for the third installment. If you have not watched the first two videos, I would highly recommend that you go back and watch them. Video 1 deals with how to prepare for a funeral. Video 2 deals with during the funeral. And this video is going to deal with after the funeral and then some other variables. Again, the reason for this video is because after being in ministry many years, there are several things that I feel pastors were not adequately prepared for and trained for. So I'd like to just offer some insights that may help you. So let's go to our third video now, the focus, which is after the funeral and variables. I want to remind you that this is not a job for you. You're not just checking off a list. This is a calling. And so you are to offer the family a sense of peace and hope in what Jesus has to offer. And so that needs to be your attitude through the entire process. But there are some variables that I'd like to suggest to you that may not ever happen in your ministry, but I either have happened to me or have heard of others, and I thought, boy, I need to help my brothers and sisters that are in the ministry. So one is what do you do when you are extended an invitation for the dinner afterward? My suggestion here is you need to use discretion. If you absolutely do not have time for that, then I think you just need to be clear with the family and don't leave it up to them figuring out if you're going to show up or not, because sometimes they're depending on you. So if you can't make it, it's something that you may feel bad about or tug at your spirit, and I'm here to say that maybe that doesn't need to be the case. I think most people are understanding that you lead a busy life and you've done your role, and the offer for the dinner after, the mercy dinner, is something that you may or may not go. My suggestion here is just be clear and communicate with the family. Some other variables I think that are really important is this a crisis funeral? In other words, if you go back and check out my previous videos, you'll see that, generally speaking, the funeral director will contact you about a week or 3 to 4 days ahead of time. This is not that scenario. This is a crisis funeral. This is something that maybe is a horrible incident that happened. And if that's the case, this is going to change your attitude and your thought process towards the funeral. So that's something that you're going to have to be aware of. Another variable, and this is something that none of us want to deal with or even think about, is the death of a child. This is going to change the entire preparation and thought process of the funeral. It's going to escalate everything you're doing a lot. So you're going to have to give your full attention to the family and be there for them in a different way. Also, something to consider, another variable, is this a high-profile death? Meaning, is this someone prominent in the community? Is this someone that's popular? And that's going to change, again, the dynamics. You know, your average funeral is probably 30 to 60 people, let's say. If you have one of these variables, if it's a crisis or the death of a child or a high-profile death, you're looking at having the people in attendance really escalate. So again, that's just something you're going to have to be aware of. So be aware of things like, was this death in the newspaper? Was this person a prominent community member? And that's going to inform how you're going to think about and prepare for these funerals, and also even your follow-up. For example, if this is the death of a child, you're going to have to think about your post-funeral ministry much more than if the person, let's say, died of old age and lived to a ripe age of 100. It really changes the dynamics. Okay, one other variable I think you need to be aware of is if the person was a veteran or a Mason or any kind of affiliation like that. And the reason why that's important is because they will have a part of their service that's different and those groups will come in and lead that part of the service. So here's my suggestion here. First, you have to be aware. So that's going to go back to you communicating to the family and to the funeral director. But also, that's going to be important because the day of, you're going to want to talk to that group. You're going to want to ask and see if they need any information from you. You're going to share the logistics of when you think they should perform their services. And I can tell you that usually that'll take place in the very top of the service. So in other words, they'll go through their parts, and then you'll do your part of the service and the eulogy, and they'll be finished up. So those are different variables. And again, this is all meant to help you. I hope these are tools to equip you to be better at what you do, to be better for the family, and really be a light, because this is an opportunity for you to spread hope during a very dark time for somebody. And I want to say, I appreciate you stopping out to this video today. I hope it's helpful. And honestly, if it is helpful to you, share it and maybe suggest it to your other friends in ministry, because this is meant to equip you to better do the work of the service. So this is Anthony Kladitis, pastor at Faith, just saying thank you for coming by, and I hope to see you again.